Readers are leaders, and libraries play a key role in any academic environment, providing materials useful to both teaching and research. But this is not the situation in some public secondary schools in Niger State, where library facilities need urgent rehabilitation. Here is a report on some of the findings from a few secondary schools visited by Channels Television.
Let's begin from Amadu Baga Secondary School, Minna. On the outside, the school structure looks well maintained, but let's check out a part of the school that ought to be the engine room for both the teachers and students, the library. Yes, this is a secondary school library. The facility is threatened by termites as well as lacking in modern books. Okwe Samuel and Patience Joseph are students in the school. They are here to get some books to read, but are confronted with the sorry state of the library.
The books are not good at all. Termites have eaten up everything. These books, they have been using them since 1960. But still, we are still using it to this year.
We need books that we can use for research or for anything that's been given to us in class.
And the teachers are also concerned.
It's really affecting the student. A student, after you might have given him an assignment or homework, he needs these materials to go through them, but he can't find them.
For you to have that confidence in coming to the library, it must be very, very conducive for you. The atmosphere is there and you have the relevant books. That okay, not such books that are as old as the school itself.
At the Father O. Colonel Science College, Minna, the situation is slightly different. There are no termites on the wall, but the shelves in the library are near empty. Moving over to Government Girls Day Science College, Minna, the situation is encouraging. The library facility here has some modern books for students to use, made possible by donor partners.
I have enough books to read, different types of story books or textbooks. Sometimes when I have what they teach me difficult, I come to library and check some textbook to have some research.
The State Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Fatima Madugu, is aware of the poor conditions of most public libraries in the state.
These are aspects that suffered a lot of neglect in the past. This government is trying to see that we revive all the education sector, particularly our schools. We want to at least bring back the lost glory of schools, and we cannot do them at once. It has to be a gradual exercise.
The future of every society largely depends on the quality of education that the citizens acquire. A quick rehabilitation and provision of adequate teaching and reading materials in public secondary schools in Niger State will go a long way towards enhancing the performance of the students, while also equipping them for future leadership responsibilities.
Efforts are being intensified by the Ekiti State government to promote free Medicare and improve public health care. To achieve this, the state governor has launched a new phase of medical outreach using Ikere local government area as a starting point. The state governor, Ayodele Fayose, says that the initiative will cut across other local government areas in the state to enlighten the people on proper health care.
This is Ogoga Palace in Ikere Ekiti local government area of Ekiti State. Governor Ayodele Fayose is here with other government officials to launch the first phase of the free healthcare scheme for residents of this area. The governor leads by example by having his health status checked. Thereafter, other residents take turns to do the same. According to the state government, the initiative is to help reduce self-medication and ensure that the people are aware of their health status.
We have a special team that will go into houses, particularly in peculiar situations where the patient can't come out at all and needs an intervention. I have one team that does that in every local government.
For the Hospital Management Board, it is also an opportunity to bring healthcare closer to the people, especially the women and children who are most vulnerable.
Women have different reasons why they don't come to the hospitals. Probably they're busy with their chores at home, or they don't even have the funds to transport themselves to the hospital. So Mr. Governor has said we should take health services closer to the people. I mean, we may not be able to go from house to house, but we'll go into every community.
The residents expressed their appreciation to the state government.
We all know that health is wealth, and when people are wealthy in terms of their health, definitely they will be able to contribute productively to the economy of the state.
The government in turn says this is the beginning of more good things to come for the people of Ekiti State and the provision of health care, and has promised to spread the free health care services across the 15 local government areas of the state.
Let's quickly shift gears now, shall we, to business news with Emana Amawe.
Thank you, Gimba. Welcome to Business News. The research arm of investment bank FSDH says it expects Nigeria's inflation rate to drop to 15.04% in January from 15.37% recorded in December 2017. FSDH research attributes a slower growth in the year-on-year food index last month compared to December 2017, despite increases in the cost of transport, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels within the period. The research firm also expects the drop in the international prices of food to counter the effect of the depreciation in the naira against the dollar at the parallel market. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the inflation rate for the month on February the 14th. And the commercialization of the Nigerian Postal Service is expected to result in the integration of more private sector investments as the agency evolves into a world-class brand. This is according to the Postmaster General, Mr. Adebisi Adegbuyi, who explains that the addition of new dispatch motorcycles to NIPO's fleets of bikes is one of the many initiatives underway to enhance the service.
There's a need for us to strike a delicate balance between discharging our obligation of universal service obligation and then ensuring that the post remains a going concern. Because if the post does not make money, it will die anyway. And if it dies, are we going to be able to discharge that obligation? That's what it is all about. And taking it further, it is to have some kind of business unit that I have created in line with our own in-house reforms and restructuring. We're going to have standalone businesses, 7 of them. EMS will be a standalone, financial services will be a standalone, transport and logistics will be a standalone. Properties, as you know, all over the world, including but not limited to Nigeria. Postal administration have priced properties, some are lying in waste, some you don't need them. We need to go into some kind of partnership with people, build estates, sell, let, build shopping complexes. That is the practice all over the world. Nigeria cannot afford to be left behind. Nigeria's Treasury bill market ended bullish this week as average yields declined by 35 basis points to 13.81%. And that's despite tight liquidity. Yields moderated at the short and mid ends of the curve, while the long end came under a lot of pressure. Earlier on Wednesday, Treasury bill auctions yields closed lower across the 91-day, 182 and 364-day bills, reflecting strong demand amid improved liquidity positions, in addition to strengthening expectation of monetary easing, healthy offshore participation, and improving inflationary conditions. Dealers say an expected squeeze in the system liquidity may reduce demand and cause yields to expand in the secondary markets next week.
In the meantime, activities in the bond market remained mixed with a bearish bias, as average yields inched higher by 1 basis point to 13.42%. Yields rose at the long end of the curve, while it contracted by 6 basis points at the short and mid segments. Dealers say the bond market favors lower yields as expected monetary easing, improving inflationary conditions, and the federal government's new debt management strategy will remain key drivers of the movement in the near to medium term. And at the equities market, investors turned broadly bullish. During the week, 4 sessions of gains were recorded, with the all-share index appreciating by 1.98% to close at 44,639.99 points. The industrial goods, banking and insurance indices posted positive returns, while the consumer goods and oil and gas indices were negative. During the week, the NSE commenced implementation of the amended pricing methodology and par value rules aimed at making the market more efficient by improving liquidity and narrowing spreads. And that's why traders say investors taking position ahead of the earnings release season suggest that there's leg room for short-term gains. And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to Gimba.
Let's take you back to our lead story now, where we told you that another breakthrough was recorded during the operations in the Sambisa forest by the Nigerian army. A total of 84 persons held hostage by the insurgents at Camp Zero were rescued by the troops and have now been handed over to the Borno State Emergency Management Agency. The theatre commander, Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Rogers Nicholas, who handed them over, said that most of them are testing freedom for the first time in 3 to 4 years after the abduction.
In the course of our operation yesterday evening and early hours of this morning, we've been able to dislodge the Boko Haram from some part of the Camp Zero camps. In the Camp Zero is a very big place, so there are various camps in the Camp Zero area. We've been able to dislodge them completely out of those places. And because of this action, we came across this large number of people, children, women, and elderly people that the Boko Haram have kept against their will. And the place was heavily protected by armed men of the Boko Haram. Our brave soldiers, in conjunction with the support of the Air Force, was able to dislodge and kill all Boko Haram members that were within that camp to be able to rescue this large number of people that are staying here. Over 80 of them. Some of them are currently receiving treatment in the hospital in the Air Force base here. You can see the large number of children, kids that have been in this bush for, some have been there for the past 4 years, some 3 years. Some of them have been impregnated by these stupid people and being treated, beaten, and have gone through various types of punishment and inhuman treatment, as you can see.
Theatre Commander, Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Rogers Nicholas. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Super Eagles remain optimistic of victory in the final of the African Nations Championship despite massive home support in favour of Morocco. That's the sports news. Stay with us.